Okay. Hi, Lizbeth.
Hi, Michelle.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm fine, thank you.
What do you think about culture?
Okay, culture. I think that the culture are the set of traditions and beliefs of a group of people. For example, in my family, our culture that we are followed generation by generation is that all my family are believers of La Virgen Maria, and it can be an example of the culture of my family. And you, what do you think about culture?
I think the culture is the customs, the art, the social institutions, a particular nation. For example, the group have a specific customs and a specific institution. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now what do you think about PPP? The meaning is perspective, practice, and productions.
Uh-huh.
And what do you think?
I think the perspective is that the people have a belief, for example, in religion and ideology, something like that. And practice is when the people have a do activity for this perspective. Products, I think maybe could be for example, in the Catholic, the Virgin Maria, something like that.
Yes, and I think that the practice about the Virgin Maria, it can be, I don't know, like the Rosarios. I think that it can be like the production, no, the practice. And now about the iceberg. The iceberg, I think that are the levels of that identify to a population. For example, in United States, what do you think that it can be on the high level?
The iceberg allegory has 3 levels: the surface level, the middle level, and the abstract level. Yeah. For example, in United States, the iceberg in the middle, for example, the discrimination and the religion.
Okay, and the high level, it could be maybe the most of the Americans speak English. English is like their language, and also the president. I don't remember the name. Is John Biden. John Biden, and also I don't know the food that is the typical food of United States is the hamburgers and pizza, and also typical tradition is that they celebrate a Thanksgiving and Halloween. I think that are the elements that it could be on the high level.
Okay. What do you think about acculturation?
Acculturation is when a person appropriate about a culture. For example, I have an aunt that his daughter lives in United States, and my aunt go to visit her. And when my aunt returned to Mexico, she told me that in United States they celebrate Thanksgiving, and she also wants to celebrate Thanksgiving, but in Mexico. And I think that my aunt is acquiring the customs of United States. And what do you think about?
Is the assimilation of a different culture. For example, Day of the Dead is other culture.
Yes, okay. And now, a cultural shock. I think that cultural shock is when something has impact in a country. For example, in Mexico, cultural shock is the feminism. I don't know. What do you think?
I have other definition. I think is the sense of confusion about feelings about other culture. For example, if you go the other country, obviously they have other customs, other beliefs, difference that you have in the native country. This is the cultural shock when you see the other culture different of you.
I'm not sure, but okay. And for example, I had an example about cultural shock, but I don't know if it's okay. It can be when I don't remember when, but someone uploaded a video about el niño Jesús dancing the pasito perrón, and now in Mexico when someone listened the song of Pasito Perrón, automatically we think in the Niño Jesús, and I don't know. I think that it can be an example of cultural shock, but I'm not sure. Okay, sorry. And the next is low context culture.
Low context. I think, high context, I think is the country have a developed economic. For example, China, they have a good economic, and the people works every day for this economic. Low context is when the people doesn't interest the economic. They live in the comfort zone. For example, the Mexican, maybe the Mexican have a money, and they don't have a hope about the economic. I don't care that. I don't have education, but I have money.
I'm not sure. I think that the high context is when the society is noble. For example, the Mexicans, we are like so polite with the society. And other example is the Americans, that they are like, I think that they aren't polite. A friend told me that his friend works in Kentucky Fried Chicken in Reforma, And she told me that a lot of foreign visit her work, and she told me that the foreign are so rude, and foreign say him that the Mexicans are so slow to work, and I think that in United States the service is faster because they aren't effective. For example, in Mexico, I work and I try to be sure that the customers are satisfied with the service, and I try to ask if they need anything, of if his food is good, or I don't know. And I think that is the problem, that Americans aren't effective. It can be the low context that it can be an example of low context that the Americans aren't effective. I don't know, what do you think?
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
I think the same.
And now the other is religion and development.
I think the fanatics often delays the development of a society. For example, you have a religion, the people say something, you say, I don't care. It's, for example, you have the ideology, the other people say something, no is you interested.
Okay, religion and development. I think that an example about the religion and development in Mexico is that the system of Mexico depends a lot of the religion. And yes, I think that, for example, in Mexico is characterized because most of the Mexicans are Catholic, and we believe in La Virgen María and other santos. And yes.
Okay. What do you think between the relationship between culture and development?
Is that I mentioned?
You say about the religion and development, no?
Yes.
This is the relationship between culture and development.
Relationship between culture and development. Yes. So is the example that I mentioned about that Mexico depends a lot of the religion. In this case, is the Catholic religion and La Virgen María. What do you think?
The culture is part of the development because the people have a role in the language, because in the language educational, because it motivates the students about the communication.
Yes. Okay, now dimensions. What do you think about dimension of culture, teaching, and learning?
It's a self-cultural, the cultural phenomena, particular culture, and elements of cultures.
Yes, okay, I think that's the same. Okay, the other is the sociocultural approach of Vygotsky. I think that I remember about a reading mentioned that Vygotsky is based on the interaction. About this sociocultural.
I think for Vygotsky, the part interaction is the most important. For example, the interaction between students and students, teacher and students, teacher and teacher.
Okay, yes. And the components of sound of proximal development. I have the meaning that are the objectives that has the teacher about his student, and it's the didactic sequence is like the base.
Okay, for example, the student's potential develop on the role of the interaction with others.
Okay. It's like the approach of Vygotsky, the interaction, no?
Yes.
Okay. And now, are there countries without a culture? What do you think?
No,
right? No, I think that all the countries have a culture.
A country can't exist between culture.
Yes, I remember that the teacher uncle told us that in fact, if a country did not anything, is a culture. I don't know. What do you think?
I think the same. Mexican have a culture, the other countries have a culture, different culture for this culture.
Yes, exactly. And I think that are all the points.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, thank you, Liz.
Thank you, Mitch.
I like to talk with you. See you.
Thank you. See you. Take care.